questions. I try to keep it real simple. The main things that you guys have to do is make sure that people, pets, and pets are ready to vacate for that amount of time, which is going to be March 13th to the 15th. Typically this size job, they're going to start early in the morning. They should be here as early as 7, and then working. So you'd probably be ready to go about 8 a.m. on the 13th of March. And then coming back the 15th, typically about noontime. You should be able to have access back to your property, okay? So the main thing is making sure that you have a place to vacate for that amount of time, and then bagging up your foods and your indigestibles. Anything that's gonna go into your skin and be absorbed or into your stomach and be ate afterwards needs to be bagged, with the exception of manufactured sealed items such as canned goods. So if it's pasta, if you got beans, vegetables, tomato paste, or anything in a can that hasn't been opened, it doesn't need to be bagged. Water bottles do not need to be bagged. This does include the stuff in the freezer or the fridge. The bags that we're gonna provide, they're specially made for that. You need to double bag these bags. So basically it's real simple. You open one of the bags up, you put your belongings as far as what you're gonna eat, your indigestibles or topicals, put them in the bag, double bag it, give it a couple twists, fold it over, put some masking tape around it, and then you're done. And then those bags could stay inside the property. Other than that, we shut off the gas for that amount of time. I will get an accurate answer and report that back to James if we can give a courtesy, since it's such a large complex, to have the gas company just turn the accounts back on. Typically it's up to the account holder to call to have the service restored for the day of the takedown. So you're going to want to do that probably around Monday of that week. Okay. Other than that, that's pretty much it as far as your requirements. The paperwork, which is the waivers, which we'll provide. I have provided that to the board, so we'll figure out if I needed to bring printed copies, or they could be emailed and you can print them on your own. Fill out those waivers, return those back to receive your bags from James. Or whoever's going to hold the bags, as far as the ones that I provided. There's enough for everybody in every unit. And then have somewhere to go for those 3 days. So I'm sure there's a lot of other questions. I'm just going to open it up for conversation, because I'm sure you have more questions that you'd like to have addressed. So who wants to start?
I have a aquarium tank. Should I remove everything?
You should remove the tank. I've dealt with tanks before. Here's another option. Okay, it's not a promise that the fish will survive. I've had a lot of success with it, but what you can do is take one of these bags and you're going to want to tape it over the fish tank, and then you'd have to get like 100 feet of hose, the air hose, and put the air filter outside. None of the filters could be inside because it's going to recirculate that gas. You want to tape this and create a seal around your tank and run that hose outside as far as you can away from the property. It's worked. I mean, I've had guys, I did a fumigation for 240 units in Newport Beach, and they had a saltwater tank, and the guy probably had about $10,000 worth of fish in there. He came back, the only thing that was gone was a couple shrimp, and he thinks that the crab ate them because it was 2 days, but all the other fish survived. So I've seen it work. I can't promise it. There'll still be a waiver that you have to sign saying in the event that they pass, you're notified, and it's not our responsibility, but I have seen that work probably about 2 or 3 times. Next question.
Do we have to empty out the closets? Or?
You do not have to empty out your closets. I mean, it's good to make things accessible just so we could visibly come in and inspect. What we're going to make sure is that nothing's locked, so such as cabinets or anything. So that is, you brought up a good point. If you have file cabinets, safety deposit boxes, take that belongings with you. Take your cash, credit cards, important documents. We don't watch the property 24 hours a day. I'm sure that you guys are probably going to make arrangements to potentially have an on-site security guard. That is an option. You can call the police station and let them know which days you're doing the fumigation so they drive by more often. Everything needs to be remained unlocked, but all we're looking for in closets is any people, pets, or food that can get contaminated that potentially can hurt you afterwards.
Same with the attic, right?
The attic, we open up the attics usually just to ventilate when we're doing the aeration. So the first 24 hours is going to be completely gassing the structure once it's tenant. So for the full 24 hours is injecting the gas. Second 24 hours is aerating the property, venting it all out. Third day we come through with all our scanners and equipment. We make sure there's no gas residual trapped inside the units before we post a reentry tag telling you it's safe to come back in. So sometimes we will open the attic hatch If that happens, just let me know. It would just definitely be an accident, but sometimes to vent it out more properly, they'll leave up in a hatch or two just so it can continue to vent up.
What about stuff in the refrigerator? Is that okay with it being closed or no?
It will be fine closed, but you still have to put it in the bag. So you take the stuff out of the fridge, put it in the bag, double bag it, put it back in the fridge, and it will remain there. Okay, the electricity and water stays on. It's important that stays that way so your belongings don't melt or anything else. We need the electricity to navigate the fans and airflow, and the water must remain on as well.
Do you recommend like cleaning all the bed linens and clothes that are in there?
No, it's not a requirement. I'm going to tell you what's important for you to, be safe during the process. They used to use a product called methyl bromide. This was years ago. A lot of times people got a bad rap from that fumigation because it left a very strong liquid residual. They use a product called Vicane now, and it does not leave any residual properties. So the only other thing they get concerned with are plastic mattresses or like changing tables. You know how they're made out of plastic? Those things need to be removed because we get concerned with gas getting trapped in the plastic. But literally it would brush past your clothing. It's not going to affect it. It's going to take care of a lot of other problems such as silverfish or spiders or ants, roaches that are alive. If anybody has any roach problems, it will not penetrate any capsules. So if you do, let your board members know if you need something sprayed afterwards, because once they hatch, it will kill off the babies. But anything alive is going to die during that process. Yes.
So with the air mattress, I should deflate it?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Even the regular mattress, we don't have to cover it, we have to cover the regular mattresses, right?
No, do not cover them. If you have a plastic, still like when you bought the mattress, not dust covers, not those breathable things that you wrap on your mattress or zip around them, such as like to protect it from spills or like bed bugs or anything like that. That can remain on there. But if you have like the plastic when you bought the mattress on there, that needs to come off.
Oh, we don't have, it's just open and we don't need to worry about it.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So question, like most fridge have like ice makers in it, so you recommend how many times should you throw out the ice before you reuse
You don't have to throw out the ice that used to be on the label. Water bottles and ice are not on the label anymore, so you don't have to worry about discarding those things.
I have a newborn just like born like 3 weeks ago, so for the stuff for her, should I take it with me or can I just leave it here? Just the bed and stuff.
What I would say is take the bed with you. What I would say, here's the thing. Our minds could be stronger than we need them to be. It doesn't matter how many times I tell you, you don't have to wash your dishes. If it makes you feel better and sleep at night, definitely do so. I'm a father of 4, so I would take my child's belongings, especially having a newborn, things that she's going to put in her mouth, such as toys or something. I'd bag them up. You're going to have enough bags. I gave everybody about 20 bags. Typically that's enough for a single family house, like a 3-bedroom house. It should be plenty enough for, was it 2-bedroom units here? Yeah. So you should have enough to cover that. I also given some extras, so in the event that you do run out of those bags, there'll be more that can be provided. But be sparingly with them. They're very expensive, but if you have any extra, I'd put your child's belongings in them as well, just so you feel better. You know what I mean? It's not a requirement, but just so you feel confident that there's no problems. Because for all I know, you come back and you get let's say you have allergies, or you just happen to get a cold that week. All of a sudden, your mind's thinking that it had to be with the fumigation. We will not let you back into your unit until we cleared that there is no residual gas trapped in there. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, use the bags for that.
For kids with asthma too?
Kids with asthma, no. And I just did a property for a mobile home park. Guy had CPOD. I'm not a doctor, so if I told you an answer, I'd probably be wrong. But what I would suggest is talk to your doctor. And usually, what they're going to tell you is just to stay out another day or 2. That's all they can tell you to reassure it. But like I said, when you come back in, there's going to be no gas trapped inside your structure, and there will be no residual properties left.
Yeah, I have a water filtration device underneath my sink. Will that be okay?
It won't be affected at all. That's another reason why we also keep the water on too, is because it keeps a complete seal. That's the concern with why you can't fumigate a duplex just one side and not the other. If there's gas lines traveling, when the gas is off, there's a concern that the gas could travel through the piping. So the water stays on, it's going to be no problem. Anybody else? Yes?
What about your medicine cabinet?
Medicine cabinet, if it's going to go in your stomach or in your skin, I'd put your medicine in the bag. It's not an EPA registered food pesticide. That's not saying that it would contaminate the food, but we're never going to fumigate a crop, so it probably never will be an EPA food pesticide, so that's why they require you to bag your food. Mhm. Any other questions?
Just to double check,
Mhm.
maybe yours. I need to put my clothes in the bag, right?
No, don't put your clothes. No.
Can be stay here, right?
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Correct, 100%. Yeah, and it's good if you got clothes moths or stuff. These are things that we don't really realize too.
Yeah,
It will
because-
clean everything up in one
Yeah,
shot.
I was doing research and online it's saying that asking me to wrap all the mattress and stuff. That's what it
No,
says.
no, they'll actually won't start if your mattress is wrapped.
Okay,
It's a
alright.
big no-no on the label. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the food, and you
Okay.
use these bags. They're watertight, airproof, gasproof. If you have any extra, don't discard them. I'd keep them for like if you ever go on a camping trip or go to the beach or any of these things.Ey're really good for that purpose.
By the time we come back, do we have to do something inside our houses, or we don't need to do?
You won't have to do anything.
Okay,
You'll come back home and live.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very stressful part and usually gets a little bit more intense towards that day. I'm here to support you guys and answer any questions. I've been doing this for a long time, about 5 years now. I've done plenty of these fumigations. Everything goes smooth as long as I have everybody's cooperation. And those are the main things that is required from you, is making sure that you know that in the event that you have to restore the gas, that you gotta call the gas company prior to that happening so that you can schedule for the restore of your gas account. And then bagging up your food and belongings, people, pets, outside, and plants. And other than that, everything else we do. Yes.
So you said we have to leave here by the 13th, Wednesday morning
Correct.
at 8 a.m.?
I would say a job this size, like, they might be here about 6:37 in the morning to start. Doesn't mean the tarps are going to be down and you can't exit your property, but I'd say on a safe note, probably 8 o'clock sharp. It would be the time that we would expect you to be vacant.
And then we can return back into our property on Friday afternoon,
Correct.
15th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What time in the afternoon?
I don't want to promise a time, but I know that all the takedowns and certifications are done by noon the day of the takedown, so 12 p.m. Yeah.
Are all the cars okay in the parking lot? If you leave a car in there, or do you have to take, or all the cars have to be taken out?
The cars would have to be unlocked. I would suggest that they be taken out,
Okay.
but yes, to answer your question, if it's going to be in the tent, it's not going to be able to come back out once the tent goes on it. So I take the car with you, or make sure it remains unlocked, and I don't suggest that either. Because it's wide open. I don't. In the amount of 5 years, I probably had like 2 break-ins happen. One in San Pedro and another one in deep in San Diego somewhere. It's crazy that people do that, but that's why I suggest, personal belongings like credit cards, cash, or jewelry, take them with you. I wouldn't leave my car unlocked in a tent. Just in the event somebody wanted to do something like that, it would be easy access. Now, we do lock the doors. You will have key instructions. I believe James is going to be the point person. The only person that will go into your property is going to be a state licensed foreman. So we're all licensed by the state. We all take live scans. That individual will be the only one that comes in to verify, certify, and make sure that everything's clear. Those doors will be locked when we leave this property. So there would need to be key instructions, which we can orchestrate with James.
What about the windows?
The windows, we will crack those windows when we need to, and we will close them before we leave. Nothing will remain unlocked when we leave this property.
What if we have bikes in the units? Do we have to take those?
No, you don't have to take your bikes with you. Bikes are fine. Like a 10-speed or something, mountain bike or something, it's totally fine. Yes.
So do we have to contact the gas company to turn it off or just turn it back on?
Just to turn it back on for restore, okay? And that's gonna be on your paperwork. I will notify James immediately if I can orchestrate them just doing a turn on, because it's such a large complex rather than every individual call to restore their gas. It makes more sense to me, but for some reason the gas company has the account holder call in to restore the gas, so in the event that that does happen, that would be the only portion you would need to do. Any other questions? Any other concerns, questions? Do you guys feel like you understand everything that needs to happen? Yeah, it's pretty simple. I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's easy to do that. But like I said, just bag your food, your belongings, make sure the plants and people and pets go outside for that amount of time. We'll do key instructions with James. So if there's a spare key or whatnot, you may want to provide those with James with tagging it on there so that we can deal with one person to avoid any confusion and make sure they get back to the same person. And then obviously leaving early in the morning on Wednesday and coming back in the afternoon by Friday. I have cards for everybody. This is my business card.